I remember I was super nervous, and me and her, we ended up going into the bathroom, and when we turned on the water for the bathtub, I realized that me and her were gonna take a bath together. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane but embarrassing story. So today's story all takes place back when I was in high school, and this was my grade 11 year. Now, in grade 11, I was a major player. I know that sounds pretty stupid for me to say, but I'm not gonna lie. The only thing I was good at was basically pulling girls, doing the Devil's Tango, and also video games. I played a lot of video games throughout my high school years, and to this day, it hasn't changed. But going on with the story, I remember in my grade 11 year one time, I was walking down the school hallway heading towards the cafeteria. And when I got there, I realized that the group of boys that I usually hang out with were all sitting around a table that we would usually sit around. And when I walked up to them, I remember they were all talking about like how they had a good weekend with their girlfriends and stuff. And me, I ended up looking at all of them, really not caring. Because honestly, one thing about me back in high school is that even though I was a helpless romantic, being in an actual like proper relationship was really hard for me to do. I don't know why, I don't understand how, and still to this day, I'm not able to stay in an actual proper relationship, but that's because I think I'm just a little bit crazy. Anyways, I remember I was talking to them and basically telling them how like, you know, they should be lucky they have girlfriends and stuff. And then that's when they started telling me all the benefits of actually getting a girlfriend. They told me they get to do the Devil's Tango whenever they wanted. They told me how they get to go on dates and how they don't have to worry about other women, and how basically the game is like over and that they never have to struggle about finding another girl and dying alone. Which is funny because none of them actually ended up lasting in those relationships, so take the L there. But going on, I remember I kept telling them how I wasn't really like, you know, ready to settle, I guess, even though I really wanted to at the time. And then that's when out of nowhere, we ended up seeing a girl walk across the school cafeteria. Now, none of us actually recognized this girl, which was funny because most of us knew a lot of the women in our school. But then out of nowhere, I remember she ended up looking at me and she kind of just waved and kept walking. At that moment, all the boys started looking at each other and we all started to say, "Oh, I think she waved at me." "What? No, of course she didn't wave at you, bro. She waved at me." And that's when I looked at all of them and said, "Yo, guys, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I think she actually waved at me because if you think about it, I'm the only one single here." "Bubba, how would she know that?" "I don't know, but it doesn't matter because I'm the only one that can approach her." At that moment, I ended up walking away from them and I actually headed towards her to go see where she went. When I went out to the hallways to look for her, I remember I ended up seeing her walking towards her locker. And that's when I walked up to her and said, "Hey, like, how's it going?" "Oh, hey, what's up?" "Oh, nothing. I saw you at the cafeteria and I don't know, I thought you were cute and wanted to see what was going on." "Oh, well, I'm just getting ready for geography class." "Oh, fair enough. To be honest, the only place I'm trying to find is your number." When I said that, I remember she started laughing, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a really cheesy and cringe line, I won't lie, but it was the only thing I can think of right at that moment, since we didn't have much time left before class was about to start. But she ended up writing down her number on my hand with a Sharpie that she had in her backpack, and while one thing led to another, I actually got her number. When I went back into the classroom, I ended up having a class with one of my friends that was in the cafeteria earlier, and he looked at me and said, "Yo, Bubba, did you actually get her number?" "What? How do you know that?" "Bro, it's literally written on your hand." And at that moment, I ended up just writing her number on my phone and basically ended up wiping it off my hand because I didn't want anyone else getting her number just by looking at my hand. That would be like an invasion of privacy. At least I think. I'm not really sure. Anyways, I remember when class started, I decided to text her my name and basically saying, "Hey." And while one thing led to another, we started texting each other throughout the entire school day. There was a lot to know about this girl and she was actually pretty interesting. Anyways, I remember after school, I started heading towards my car because in grade 11, I actually did have a car and I actually got my license. And then I remember as I was walking towards it, I ended up seeing her walking towards her car. I remember I decided to walk up to her before getting inside my car and I said, "Hey, like, I didn't know you drove." "Oh, yeah, I got my license like a couple weeks ago." "Oh, that's awesome. Well, I mean, like, you know, one day we should go for a drive together." I mean, sure. Do you want to take my car or yours?" "Well, obviously, whichever one you prefer. I don't know, whatever you're comfortable with." At that moment, she started giggling and me and her, we decided to basically hang out that day. Me and her, we both ended up driving to a really nice viewpoint where, I'm not gonna lie, it was like the nicest view ever in my town. And a lot of people would go up there to like, you know, go do the Devil's Tango. I remember when we got up there, we both ended up sitting in my car and we ended up talking about our friend groups and how weird they are. And that's when I ended up telling her about how everyone in my friend group apparently has a relationship. She kind of ended up saying the same thing and she's like, "Yeah, I know the feeling. Like all they talk about is their like significant others and like it gets so annoying." "Yeah, like I agree. Like I don't understand what's the thrill about it." "Yeah, like honestly, like if you really just want to do the Devil's Tango, like just do it with one of your guy friends or something. Like it's not that difficult. You don't have to lock down to one person." At that moment, I kind of looked at her and she looked at me and we ended up basically kissing in the car. Now, I thought we were gonna do the Devil's Tango, but this girl wanted to take it to another level where she looked at me and said, "Baba, do you want to like maybe go back to my place?" Yeah, sure." I remember me and her, we ended up getting into our own cars and we ended up driving down to her place. And this is where things get insane because I remember when we got to her place, she ended up seeing that her parents were home from their vehicle being at the house. And she called me on my phone while I was in my car and said, God. Bubba, park your car like a couple houses down. I don't want my parents seeing your car. Oh, wait, they're home? Yeah, and like, I don't want to get caught. Okay, well, I mean, I can just go home if you want. Oh, no, it's fine. We can just go through my window. It should be totally okay. At that moment, I ended up basically like kind of freaking out, but I mean, she seemed like she had a plan, and honestly, I'm always down for a cheap thrill, so why not? So I ended up parking my car a couple houses down, and I started basically going towards her house. And when I did, she ended up telling me to go around the side of the house and climb up the weird viney ladder or gate that they had. I don't really know what it was. And when I finally ended up getting up there, I ended up jumping through her window, and that's when me and her, we started instantly going at it. We were about to do the devil's tango, till out of nowhere, we ended up hearing her dad's voice saying, "Daughter, are you home?" At that moment, I started to freak out, and she did as well. And she ended up pushing me into the closet while I was shirtless, by the way. And she told her dad, "Oh, Dad, don't come in. I'm about to take a bath." "Oh, all right. Well, I was just checking to make sure you were home." And he ended up going back downstairs. At that moment, I ended up coming out of the closet, and I looked at her and said, "Are you sure it's a good idea for me to be here?" "Yeah, it's totally fine. Here, just go down the hallway to the bathroom." At that moment, I ended up basically going down the hallway to the bathroom like she told me, because apparently it was the safest place to go. And when I was in there, I was just thinking about like, you know, how close I was to get caught right there. But then afterwards, she ended up going into the bathroom like literally 10 minutes later, and she looked at me and said, "Hope you don't mind getting a little wet." Wait, what? And that's when she turned on the bath water, and she basically ended up making a full-on bubble bath, which, by the way, I don't really like baths. I'm not gonna lie to you, because like, what kind of person soaks in their own filth? Like, it's kind of disgusting in my opinion. But I remember we ended up taking a bath together, and we ended up basically doing the devil's tango in her bathtub, which is kind of insane. But I mean, at the moment, it was the safest place to go, because if you think about it, what kind of parent walks into their daughter's bathroom while they're taking a bath? Like, it's kind of weird. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember me and her were doing the devil's tango. But then afterwards, when we came out of the bathtub, I remember she looked at me and said, Bubba, I only have one towel." "Wait, what?" "Yeah, I only have one." "Okay, well, what are we supposed to do?" Okay, how about this? You go down the hallway, okay? And if you look at the left, there's another closet. What I want you to do is just open it and just grab me a towel and run back as fast as you can." At that moment, I ended up wrapping a towel around my waist, and I ended up going out there. I tried going as fast as I could, but honestly, when I opened the closet, I couldn't find a towel. There was a ton of blankets, but no towel whatsoever. But then right as I bend over and I reach for the towel that was in the bottom shelf, when I finally found it, that's when I heard a voice behind me. And it was, "Excuse me, I think you have the wrong house." At that moment, when I turned around, I saw it was her dad, and her dad ended up grabbing my shoulders and pushing me up against the wall saying, "Who are you? What are you doing in my house right now?" At that moment, her daughter came out and said, "Wait, no, Dad, he's just a friend." And at that moment, he kind of connected the dots, because I was soaking wet with a towel, and her daughter was not wearing anything and was soaking wet. And yeah, let's just say I ended up getting kicked out of the house, and I still had the towel on, and he ended up throwing my clothes out the window that I came in. It was definitely not cool what happened, and honestly, to this day, I still get pretty shell-shocked about it, but hey, what can I say? It was just another crazy devil's tango moment with a girl. Would you guys do it in the bathtub? Because if you guys would, then just follow for more embarrassing stories just like this one. Peace out, guys.